Jen. I'll present my screen, even including up there. When it gets, and then when the agenda item 1 is done, I'm gonna pop back to my. Clear the table. Thank you. So my audio should go, right? I think it is. Okay. Is everybody ready? This is the Bluff Town Council work session. Today is December 9th, 2025. It is 3:05 PM. Roll call.
Rick Hornsby.
Jennifer Dodua.
Spencer Wade.
Ann Lepinen.
Erin Nelson serving as town manager.
Linda Sosa is excused. She should be here in a few minutes. Then the first thing on the work session is review and discussion of grants, funding, and ideas for the Cooperative Cultural Center and the Bluff Community Center. I'll turn this over to Malia Collins, but I just want to note that when I was doing the agenda, if I didn't word it quite right, let's give a little bit of leeway to what Malia had to say, because I wasn't sure what I was saying.
Fair. So I have set some timelines on here for how long I would like each conversation to take. And I'll do my best to keep us within that, just because I don't want to take more than an hour of your time. So thank you guys all for allowing me to take an hour of your time to discuss the CCC and basically just where we are. So I put together a little agenda of what we're gonna be talking about, building objectives and community feedback from that survey that we did, our funding, status of our EPA grant termination, and then our GOEO reallocation options, and just kind of where we want to go from there. I have in here construction documents and project progress, but that's basically just a statement. And then next steps, where you guys want me to go and what you'd like to see happen. So, overview of the Cooperative Cultural Center. I have about 10 minutes allotted for this, so I'll go informative and quick. So I wanted to start with, because we have some new members of the council, some incoming members of the council, just to kind of catch everybody up. Objectives of the CCC, the Cooperative Cultural Center. The center is promoting cultural engagement. Based on our grant applications, we have said that this building is going to be used as workforce childcare, rentable office space, rentable conference space, potentially a future library, the senior center space, Bluff Town offices, an art gallery in the hallways. So there's lots of different cultural engagement opportunities and pieces that are going to go into this. And it's also going to be supporting those local artists and community. So based on what we've said in our grant applications, it's how I guided what our objectives for the building are. So if you remember in September, I did a community survey and I got 8 whole responses. So what did those 8 people say? They said they like, and the prompt was, what do you like in the BCC and the CCC? And people said that they like recycling at the CCC. They like that the BCC offers activity rental space. So that just for anything at this point, people just like that there is a rentable space. If you have an event that's larger than your house can hold. There were a couple of people that stated if both buildings are not self-supporting, they recommend that we sell one and focus our resources on the other building and parks, just the other town-owned property. I asked people to rank item 6 items, 1 through 6 of what they felt Bluff would benefit the most from. I only put the top 2 on here, and that's indoor physical and recreational activities, as well as multi-purpose and rental space, and a child care and youth center. There were multiple comments requesting that the library would actually have computers with an array of resources that maybe we could bring present and make it a space that more of the community could use. that would actually be, you know, not just open a couple of days a week, but these computers that are there available for multiple uses. Also mentioned, rename the CCC. That's where you guys come in. That's not in today's discussion though. Senior care, and this was more so for those requiring full-time attention. So maybe like a daycare for seniors type of situation. Expand the food pantry, create some medical office space, and then even a historic depository. I know that that was one of the comments that was linked in with the library. So just things to think about as we're working through and getting through these buildings. We did have 8 people tell us what they want. Go Bluff. Okay.
Well,
So-
the one thing I will note, and we had talked about this, is how many people are responding. You know, I know surveys aren't bulletproof, but realistically, if we only heard back from 8 people, and this is an asset that is worth how much money? You know, that speaks volumes too.
Yeah, I think you have to go back to and look at when we purchased it and all the dialogues that were had there. I think people feel like they spoke their mind. They don't need to hear me say 10 times I'd sell it. You know, you've heard it. You know, I think that that's where most people are. So, thanks, that's a good comment. Great point.
But thank you for compiling all those. It is good. I mean, it's great to see that.
See the update, see where we're at.
Exactly.
So another grants and funding received. I'll try to spend about 15 minutes here. Just a summary of the grants that we have. So we currently are supported with 4 grants. The EECBG community block grant through the state. This one is supporting lighting and insulation. And in the application, we also said HVAC upgrade. So this is $166,650. We have the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity Rural Development Grant. That is the grant that has covered our architects and engineers. And then further down in this presentation, to be determined where we want to spend our remaining $269,000 of the $445,000 awarded. Our USDA fire suppression materials, $50,000. And then cultural capital, which was allotted for fire suppression, and it also did some of the ceiling demolition. And I'm wondering, and it's also for prep for fire suppression. 79,450 awarded, 41,781 remaining. So,
Malia, before you move on,
yes.
have we gotten extensions?
The extension for the GOEO is in Mr. Dixon's inbox. I followed up with Deb today to see if she had any update for me, and I haven't heard back.
And fire suppression, we're running up on deadline too, aren't we?
USDA and cultural capital, USDA is still just look, when you spent it, let us know. I mean, they sent us an email a couple of months ago saying, what's the update? And they haven't pulled it, so we still have it. And then cultural capital is extended until, I believe, the same time, the timeline that the GOEO will extend to is June. So we have another 6 months on each of those, which is a perfect lead in to my next slide. Basically, what do we want to do with this money? I've set aside 10 minutes for this conversation of this GOEO reallocation. So we have $269,000 and we have received our construction documents. Yay! I have a meeting scheduled on Thursday with our design review committee so that we can look through those construction documents, make sure that there isn't anything missing. I've looked through them on my own and made a couple of notes, and they're happy to make any adjustments that we may see, but that's not going to change basically where we're at and what needs to be done. So I have 3 options here under project options with current funds. So asbestos must be addressed prior to any demolition occurs. And that is we received a bid for about $35,000 to remove all of it. This is something that will have to go out to RFP for requests for proposals. That was just when someone was coming in so I could get an idea of what we're looking at. That was the quote that they had given. I am curious because that cultural capital grant has previously taken care of some demolition, and with maybe the way it was written, I'm wondering if maybe that cultural capital grant could all go towards asbestos, that 41,000 there. Because I imagine it's probably gone up with as the prices of fuel and everything else has, because that bid specific, or that quote specifically came from Grand Junction. So That's one option. Demolition, I am happy to have some construction folks in the house because I am curious about how we can proceed with demo, because once that asbestos is addressed, we can then move on to demolition. We have so much demo that's going to need to happen. We have electrical and plumbing and ceiling and obviously the flooring, but that'll be taken up with asbestos. And so I'm curious if it's possible to do just portions of the demo with that remaining money, because I am not sure if that 269,000 is enough. Or maybe I don't understand the budget well enough.
I don't
So-
see why you wouldn't be able to do it in sections. If we
And-
had to.
When we were talking 5 or 6 years ago, buying the building demolition, to do internal demolition, to get ready to have people kind of walk off with the rest of the product, the San Juan School District estimate was about 300 to 350 just to gut the inside.
300 to 350,000.
I'm not sure how much, I mean, I don't. I'm just gonna erase that.
Didn't we have a conversation at some point about looking at the section that's the most doable for our offices and just focusing on that? Like, what if we demolish the places that we know would be town offices versus community offices and see what we could get done? Or maybe I
Break
made
it
that
into
up.
phases. My concern with that is that our grant, the GOEO specifically, is for economic opportunity, and listed in that grant is the workforce childcare, the business incubator space, and the art gallery. And so I almost wonder, instead of doing the town office space, if we were to do phase one, everything that is specifically within the GOEO grant. We also have windows that need to be replaced, 14 single pane windows. Based on a quote I received, we're looking at about 20,000 for those. So does it make sense to also remove those windows, replace those? Because my mindset on that was those single pane windows are not very efficient. And so that is going to at least decrease our utility cost in the time being. Kind of along the same vein, we have those solar panels. Do we want to install those, whether it's here or at the CCC? If we did it at the CCC, the construction would be more difficult because the plan is to do them in the parking lot as shade structures over parking places. It would make it harder for the construction team to do their job because the parking lot is on the east side of that building. There is also still the option to place them in the right of way. As a governing body, Town of Bluff can waive the requirement to adhere to the right of way rule. Town of Bluff could say, everybody else needs to follow this, but we're gonna put our parking in the right of way. Might not make,
But we could consider it as off-street parking. I mean, it's not totally unheard of, I don't think, because on-street parking, not off-street parking.
it
Because
would just be that the solar panels would be there and it would make any road construction or anything
Right.
else just more difficult.
Right.
And that would also have to pay attention to the water lines and things. So any thoughts on where you guys would like to go with this?
I would like to have somebody take a look at the demolition aspects of it and see. I guess where my previous comment was going was. I don't think we have a lot of structural demolition that we're looking at. I think that more of the demolition that we're looking at is infrastructure type stuff, and it might make more sense to me to have that all done at once. And if that's what we need to focus on, is getting that infrastructure up and ready to go, you know, I mean, if it's demolition, so we can put the new HVAC in, if it's demolition, so we can rewire what we need to rewire, then that's different than taking out, you know, burying internal walls inside the building. I guess that's where my comment was leading, but I did.
And so someone to look at demo, are you thinking that we go ahead and send out an RFP for maybe our general contractor and see if they would be willing to break this into phases with us, for us, and if they could kind of, as we get funding, we can come back to them and say, okay, we're ready to start again. Do they do that? Is this?
So I think that's a big ask for a contractor to bid on a project and know that, know that we don't have any current forms of funding for this project, other than what we have.
Yeah.
So I almost wonder if we don't just set it out as an RFP for demolition of said system.
Mhm.
And then later down the line, we send it out for bid as, this is what we have. Come bid on it.
Mhm.
In that critical path that Commons in.
Yes.
Right, beginning, like where they, if we would have kept the money where we'd be in construction and stuff like that, did it have how much each individual thing was gonna cost? Didn't it have it broken down, like in relation, did it just say when?
Did they?
Say, I thought it said it like, because they were itemizing out what their whole package was gonna cost, I think on that same page.
Is that on is that on the set that we just got?
I don't think it's on the set we just got. I didn't check for that, but it was the critical path in
Yeah.
our very first few meetings before we lost the EPA grant, when they thought they were gonna take us all the way through
Yeah.
construction. And I remember they had just a broken down demolition was in there, and I just can't remember. I'm just wondering if they have a more accurate cost, what it might actually be.
Oh, man, I'll have to find that. I don't have that off the top.
That was a helpful document either way from them.
Yes,
So,
yeah,
um,
yeah. Yeah, because if we can get an idea of what demo is, and if it all is included in one RFP, that would be amazing.
yeah.
You know, if we can cover it all under that $269,000, because then it's at least,
I can't remember what that document was.
I have them all.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. That's a good,
maybe that'll help.
yeah. I'll look into that. Any other thoughts on this from anyone at this point? I know this is just a work session, so nothing does get voted on,
So
so,
between that and asbestos, and I just don't know what else we could do.
yeah.
Really, I mean, I'm quite hesitant to put windows in. And the solar is gonna be a problem, like I mentioned, so.
Yeah.
I do see concerns with not having enough of a finished project for GoEO. I mean, in our grant reporting, we've talked about how, all of this is necessary to get to the final deliverable. But if a project completes in June of 2020, or our grant completes in June of 2026, and it's still 3 years before this is online, I think that really could give GoEO many reasons to not
I think
grant Bluff more funding, and they have a fairly robust pot that we can apply for.
we can't be the only one left holding the bag with them, though, after all of the cuts to the state, I mean. like I said,
No,
so
I wouldn't think
there's
so,
gonna be a
but
ton of other federal dollars leveraged on these things too.
I would
So
be,
if that's their, I mean,
yeah.
I'm a jackass about all this stuff, so it's kind of like, well, yeah, we would be finishing the problem, go ask your buddies to give us the money back. So,
I'm just worried they're gonna say, you give us the 445. I don't think they will do that, but I'm more worried about, like, there are so many other projects that we could apply for them and they will not grant us.
if that's a concern.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Based on conversations with Deborah, our grant officer at this point, I proposed us reallocating at this point and not having a finished product and asking if we would be eligible to apply for more funding when it opens back up and when we've completed this. And she said, we're good grantees. And she's like, you guys are at least communicative, and this, as long as the vision is still there. And she's like, I think that you guys do have a good chance of continuing to apply for more funds. So that is a good sign,
That is a good sign. Okay.
but it's also a very valid concern.
See what
Yeah.
that they would make something work, and that's why I bring up, they've gotta be having these conversations with plenty of other projects.
And clearly, we have plenty of support to put into a grant report that would explain why we are not meeting the final deliverables at this point in time. But yeah, if you've already had that conversation and we would still be eligible for additional funding for this project and or other projects, that makes me feel a lot
They've
better.
got a lot of stuff even for like employee funding and stuff
Mm.
they offer, so.
Cool. Nice. Okay,
Cool. I do think it's better if it's a final product, if it's like, if it's all.
Always.
Something. Just-
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and this, I mean, we've learned the hard way too, is like, if we're piecemealing all these different grants to get one part of the project done, we are struggling to complete if something goes awry, so.
Well, and to go back to the previous slide, so we have our EECBG is lighting and insulation, so thankfully, if we're able to use, thankfully, that is one of the first things that could be done. So if we use this GoEO to complete demo, we can then hop into lighting and insulation. And you spend those funds down because those expire at the end of December, and then, you know, fire suppression, and that would help to spend that USDA, at least acquiring materials. Thankfully, that one's also material, so I feel like we are kind of in a pretty good boat if we can get this demolition completed and then go somewhere from there.
So we're thinking full demolition, we're not gonna piecemeal it, we're gonna say, let's just get the demo done,
That's
Let
my,
me see how much.
yeah, depending on what,
depending on cost.
yeah.
And you think that cost is broken down in the initial?
I mean, I could be wrong,
I'll go
but
back and
I thought I saw like somewhere an itemized breakdown. of the
Yeah.
path, Like,
Yeah.
I call it, and that's how they got their number for it, but
Mhm.
I'll help with that.
Probably this one.
Can you pull that up right now?
When did
I'm gonna
we,
unplug, so I'm not
yeah,
showing you my entire,
when did we, sign the agreement with Uncommon? That's what I was thinking.
March 6th.
I'll go into my agenda packet. So.
Is it their timeline that you're thinking of?
Well, I might be conflating two things I saw, but I know I saw like a critical path thing, which was like the timeline. But I wondered if that had it busted down on cost there, but I know for sure I saw it itemized. I thought I had demolition.
Yeah, I remember a piece of, a form that they had given us. And I feel like demo wasn't filled in, and so in one of the meetings, I said, what are we looking at demolition for the building? And I believe they said $4 per square foot.
Okay.
And so 4 times 19,000, that would get, say, 76. So that would be great. That gives us $200,000 to continue working with. And we'll, maybe, yes, okay, I'll look up to that a little bit further. I don't see,
Yeah, we can.
oh, remodel budget numbers. Maybe that's it. Okay. So this is the form that I believe you're thinking of. Let
Say it is.
me share it so that those online can also see it. Does this look familiar?
Sure.
Demolition, $50,000.
Okay.
I'd like to know if that's for everything below, or if that's just certain systems. Because like I said, we're not taking out, we're not taking out major walls.
Yeah.
On demo.
There might be-
Really shouldn't be that crazy.
No, not
And I think most of it's in the
already
steel.
tore stuff up.
Yeah.
Is that including the asbestos?
No, the asbestos is gonna be separate. Before they do any demo, the asbestos has to be taken care of.
Because at the point in time when we were talking this, we were talking about possibly covering up the asbestos rather than taking it out. And we've since been told they thought it would be better if we just.
So they're thinking, Uncommon's thinking removal?
The asbestos mitigation company that gave us that quote recommended removal because they are coming from Colorado where they said the asbestos regulation is just getting stricter and stricter. And he said that he sees a day coming that potentially it could be required that any asbestos has to be removed instead of just mitigated or covered up. And he said it might be easier just to cover yourselves and just remove it so it's not even there for any future issue. Also, still your guys' decision.
That was 35. for asbestos removal.
I'm split, because if I was an asbestos company, I would definitely tell you to remove it.
Totally.
Yeah, I
Especially if
agree.
you're going to convention.
I kind of agree, Aaron, but at the same time, in the future, I mean, if we encapsulated it with like a concrete floor or something like that, then.
Thought there was other reasoning too, though. I thought that there was something else about the encapsulation. The sales pitch. I thought it came, I mean, I thought they ended up. I thought
Well, he was
Stephen
worried about transitions, I think, with concrete floor. I kind of don't necessarily think that's a legitimate thing. I think we've got really high ceilings in all of those rooms and so.
It was because the classrooms, because they had
Carpeting, yeah.
it's lower, and then if we are doing, the hallway has the tile, and then if we're putting something else on top of it, it's gonna be a pretty dramatic
It
difference.
wasn't like the sinks and stuff too or something?
There is asbestos in the sinks, and so those that are being removed also have to be removed by the asbestos folks, so that's a piece of demo that they're doing and not the other demo folks.
Was there an estimated cost for covering it up? Encapsulating?
No. No, because that
But-
would be a different contractor. They wouldn't,
Oh, they wouldn't?
well,
He wouldn't do it at all?
no, well. I would imagine that the asbestos person wouldn't.
I think
Do
that
it.
the flooring installer
Yeah.
has to be made aware of the situation and would have to propose a solution to fully encapsulate.
Yeah.
So it's more the flooring company and
Yeah.
understanding that that would need to be handled before anything else is going on, so as to not disturb the asbestos in the building, which is kind of difficult because you don't really want to put your flooring in until you get all the other crap in there.
Unless it's just concrete and then you just don't finish your concrete until your last step.
And then if in the future it is required that we remove the asbestos, it is the way that you dispose it, you have to pay by pound, and so if
Yeah,
it is in
if it-
concrete, it would end up being a lot more expensive because then we're disposing of all of this concrete instead of just this tile flooring.
Yeah,
The company you got a quote from, did they have a disposal location that they were suggesting? Cause I think it's one thing to actually remove it. The cost to actually do the disposal is wildly expensive, and I was under the impression that there wasn't one nearby to us.
I believe it was included in the quote.
Okay.
Yeah, that they were.
As long as that was
removing and
included.
disposing, yeah,
As long as that was included, that, yeah.
somewhere between here and Grand Junction, probably Yellow Jacket.
Okay.
Just kidding, these are the jokes.
I guess I would be really hesitant, just rely on what's gonna happen in the future. In terms of any kind of federal regulations, when they seem to be going the opposite direction of getting rid of regulations. I mean, I think we really need to base it on what makes the most sense right now and what can move forward.
And I mean, even with our EPA grant, we were not required to remove, we just had to mitigate, and so I would
Like
call them to.
bouncing around that there was some other conversation this summer when we were,
Mhm.
that this came up and that there were other reasonings for not encapsulating that were.
I don't
more
think there is
practical.
too much more than that, Britt, just that he was worried about future stuff. And that
Yeah,
he
'cause I
was
don't-
worried about elevations. But
Wow, that's why I must have been, I don't know. That, because it's funny because it doesn't pass my, that's not enough for me now, so I'm surprised that was enough for me. Like, so.
well, and I don't, I think that we said that we would look into this further too. I think we just glanced off it real quick. I don't think we, this was the number that he gave us and.
Well, and this stuff is, we've talked circular on some of this stuff so much with
Yeah.
changes.
Well,
that
and-
I'd just be confused.
And frankly, part of this, I would hope that our professional firm would give us some direction. Like we're building around their specs. Does it not matter what the flooring, like maybe, I don't know.
I think actually after we had conversation, when we were talking about this, the architecture firm was also pushing to, I would just get rid of it.
No, in that
I
case,
mean,
maybe,
Like-
we pay them a lot of money. If that is the recommendation and,
That's kind of what I'm remembering. It's something me being like, oh, well, there's something
Yeah.
like that made me think like, oh, this is a better idea.
yeah, no,
Yeah, the fact that I don't like asbestos.
no, I don't mean to play devil's advocate at all. I know. I had school children there for how long? But we also, if we are paying $176,000 to the engineers and they're like, you might as well just get rid of it, and they don't think it's a big enough cost concern, then that makes sense to move forward. It does sound like that needs to be done, then you can do demolition, then you can do. I do like the idea of using the funding for the cultural capital grant to do additional demolition. if we can convince them.
Yeah, I
It
think
seems
so.
like that amount would be very close to what is needed.
Yeah,
And it would feel good to finish that one, because I think we've gotten 3 grant extensions
Yeah.
on that one. So let's wrap her up. I really like them, but we should.
we want
probably-
them to like us
We
too.
should probably wrap that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I like it.
thanks for finding that. And thanks for
Yeah,
remembering that.
Yeah, good memory on that.
And yeah, I'm with Anne, like we've already torn a lot of stuff out, so hopefully it's even less expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think that the only, wall demolition stuff, we've got one wall in the girls' bathroom that we know that we're gonna take out. There's probably some structural office wall type stuff in the office itself, although I'm not.
Between the
not totally
bathroom and the
sure.
laundry room.
Yeah, but then what about that other wall or that other room that we had kind of designated as the chamber of the council chambers?
Were we gonna keep
That
that
has all
little
of the
closet?
weird dividing thing.
Yeah,
There
we're gonna
might be
keep
some-
those, yeah.
Yeah,
It's just archive storage or something, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then maybe in the office that's across the hallway from those, that was the IT room. There might be some, but other than that, I don't think there's a whole lot of wall removal. Unless our office renters themselves wanted to.
I would put that on them at that
Yeah,
point. If you want to make modifications, it would have to be a leasehold improvement
Yeah.
that we would agree upon or something. In terms of the ductwork, are they proposing reuse of any of that ductwork? It's
The
all,
only part they're gonna keep is the stuff in the auditorium and the kitchen, based on our last conversation where they said we should keep that same system, but otherwise. The system we're going to, the VRF, is basically ductless.
Yeah, it doesn't require.
And so they're gonna remove all of that. That's also part of the demo with the duct.
that's gonna
Yeah,
be,
stuff.
The
that's
electric.
gonna be the big stuff.
And I
It's
don't
quite a
think
few
that
things on
that's,
the roof.
I mean, I don't really think that that's that much. It's all exposed for the most part at this point in time.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of taking out those big square.
We can always
Yeah.
bring in another AmeriCard to you.
They're staying at your house.
Jokes today.
To keep us on time, I'm gonna jump back and we'll continue this conversation. Any other further thoughts?
Good one.
We meet for design review committee on Thursday, and let me know before then. What else
Can
you
you-
like?
Can Uncommon help us with the bid packet for demolition?
Part of the contract.
Yeah, hold them to it.
Yep.
We've had some issues with that, so. Yeah,
Yes.
maybe that's something we can get out first thing in January. Sorry, you guys talked, you
Is that what
talked
you're thinking?
DRC, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What month is it? Oh gosh, that's next month.
Yeah, that's like 2 weeks from now with Christmas and New Year's, isn't it? But
It's fine, it's fine. Okay, jumping on to more exciting topics. EPA grant termination and then potential funding sources. I have 30 minutes set aside, but we're already down to 20 minutes left of this conversation, so here we go. Options for illegal termination of our EPA grants. So I included in your agenda packet, I'm sorry I put it in there so late, the Lawyers for Good Government guidance brief. I've created a slide that kind of discusses each thing, but then I also have additional information to help guide the conversation. So basically, as I've said previously, we have 3 options. Close out the grant, go to federal district court, take our case there, or take our case to the Court of Federal Claims. I'll start with closeout and then we'll work our way up. With closeout, we have 2 different options with closeout. Close out the grant and then accept the termination, just say, yeah, you guys are right, we're closing out, we just want to be done. There's also the option to close out under protest, which is an option if we choose to go either direction, if we choose to go through the federal district court or through the Court of Federal Claims, basically saying, this isn't right, we don't agree with this, but because you are forcing us to close out, we are going to do so. And we still reserve our right to take you to court and to fight this. So as previously discussed as well, with the closeout of, or without closing out the grant, it puts us in a risk of a standing of non-compliant, which would last on our SAMS.gov for 5 years. I'm also curious how that would affect Stewardship Utah, because they are a sub-awardee. So they would probably also not be thrilled to have that in their SAMS.gov standing.
Has anyone had a conversation with Stewardship Utah?
No, not yet.
No, they probably should do that sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Um,
Lenny's
then-
was just here and she said she's a lot more available since the election
oh, sweet.
has happened to have conversations. So,
Okay. I'll reach out to Lenise and TJ.
We had like just signed that paper too.
I know.
That sucks.
It does.
Sorry, moving on.
Yep. And I mean, with that, so something to make us feel a little bit better about the SAMS.gov, it lasts 5 years. We can comment on there if it is on our standing, we can comment and say this was based on the EPA grant that was illegally terminated. And then a new administration could come in and remove that, change that standing from non-compliant. So there is a chance that it could be removed, but there is a chance that we never get a new administration. Federal District Court. So there are some cases pending litigation that we are not a part of. And so it would be really difficult for us to go this route, essentially. We still could, it would just require that we would file a district court lawsuit alone or with a similarly situated grantee. The US Supreme Court has weighed these a couple of different times, saying that basically the federal district court can't make this, it doesn't have the jurisdiction to do this, and that it needs to go through the US Court of Federal Claims. So that one seems kind of messy and a little bit more difficult. So if you guys want to take this to court, the best option might be the Court of Federal Claims. I have completed the intake form with the Lawyers for Good Government. There's the potential for a pro bono lawyer to represent us in this case. And so what the Court of Federal Claims does, they hear the procurement related contract disputes against the US government. While this is not a procurement related, this is something that the Court of Federal Claims is basically creating new avenues, trying to figure out a way to award some money back to people.
and Emily, can we talk a little bit more about the closeout under protest? 'Cause
Let me finish this one because it
Okay.
kind of loops back in with it. So if we choose to go the Court of Federal Claims route, we will still want to close out. The big part is we're going to need to close out our grant because we received a delinquency notice because they are counting their 120 days differently from the way we are counting our 120 days. And we can't really apply for an extension because we are not currently in litigation. And so if we choose to even go the Court of Federal Claims process step, we're gonna want to probably file or close out under protest, still completing all of the forms, just saying, we don't think you didn't do this right. This was unilaterally terminated. So yes, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to know more about the closeout. under
Yeah.
protest. So that just kind of, well, it's like you said, we are not agreeing that we closed out this grant. You closed out this grant.
Yeah, and we are still reserving our right to take you to court if the opportunity arises and if other similarly situated grantees want to join in or something. So at this point, my recommendation is that we close out under protest. Like I said, I completed the intake form for the Court of Federal Claims, see what they say, see if we could get that pro bono support and go from there.
Any comment?
No, sorry, work sessions, we don't want anybody to make it. But you can always confer separately. No decisions are gonna get made today. Under the closeout, under protest. Do they not make any indication in the SAMS.gov? They just leave that alone the way it is, or they put a note in there? What do they do with SAMS.gov?
There is still a chance. I mean, there is still a chance that they could put a note in there. for us at this point, because they've sent us the delinquency notice and we were counting it incorrectly in their mind, because the way that they are counting it is based on the March date that they sent us the termination letter, even though I have sent them 4 or 5 different letters and they have responded to us in August. And so I am counting from August, and that means that our closeout extends into January, but according to them, they're going by that March date, even though they've corresponded with us.
So
So
to keep track of stuff. So-
it is hard.
Like, yeah, I mean, just sign the thing with plea out of this, basically, like you're saying, just sign it away. We don't agree with it, whatever. They're gonna do whatever they want. I mean, I don't have any faith in getting any more money from this the next few years at all from this source, not for these kind of things. You know what I mean? If we were putting in something, you know, that would benefit capital in some ways, but not something that's gonna help Native Americans and children, people with children, like that's not gonna see any money. Like in the next 4 years.
Well, unfortunately, the SAMS.gov is just all of the grants, though. I mean, it's just our standing in
So,
SAMS.gov.
man, they're getting any.
Oh, you're not thinking we're gonna get any funds?
But I think I might as well close this out.
Yeah.
Be done with it. And I don't like even going to court against them for what? Like, I mean, does anybody have any faith in the federal court at this point? This is a joke. Like, so, I mean, I think just rather than suck it, I'm afraid if we do any other path, it's just gonna suck our time. And.
To
keep us from
clarify,
doing other stuff.
are you saying close out under protest or close out accept?
Just close out the protest.
Under protest.
Is what I think I would do. And then rather than have our attention be sucked up, hoping we get money from thieves, we turn our attention somewhere else to
Yeah.
people who want to get money to help.
I like the idea of close out under protest too. Still adds us, or it still allows us to, if we have the opportunity to sign on to a lawsuit or something like that. I worry that if we don't close out and we have anything to do with like federal roads money or anything like that, I mean, I agree with you about the, you know, the CDI or whatever it is, that we won't get any money from that, but we do still get federal funding for other things like road infrastructure and stuff like that. And I want to make sure that we don't get ourselves in trouble for that, especially with the, you know, the trail coming up and stuff like that. I feel like if we get a black eye on ourselves, that they, oh, well, they don't like to play with us, we're just not gonna do this.
I guess that's what I'm saying. I totally agree. All those infrastructure, big time infrastructure things where they can pay the right people, that'll all go through.
Yeah.
But there's been no effort from our representatives to help with anybody
No.
across the state, get any of the money out of state.
No.
So I just don't see these are.
So the date that they say we're out and the date you say, what are those 2 dates?
March 26th.
Plus 120 days. And then my date is January.
So their date would have been Thursday, July 24th. And then you're saying that one in August. the
Yeah, so
communication.
August 24th, 26th.
Okay, I'm confused. Can you, so the date that you calculated, Leah, is that we're done,
Is January.
January.
My leaves that one.
Be around January 25th.
One hundred and twenty days from the 29th of August.
That would be December 27th.
Oh, December 27th.
You said from August 29th?
Yeah,
Yeah, December 27th this year.
So that's what Malia calculated.
yeah,
And they calculated,
they calculated June.
July, wait.
June's already done.
Yeah.
Yeah, March 26th.
So
Yeah, July 24th.
since we can't vote, and we're not gonna, if we don't make a decision, we can talk about it on the 16th.
Okay.
And get more information. Some people might have more information that would be helpful. Okay, so we've got a week to kind of, I would like to know what the difference in terms of actual harm between option 1 and 2, close out and accept, or close out under protest?
Yeah. I recommend reading this, the Lawyers for Good Government. This was in your agenda packet. They have another webinar tomorrow, but I'll attend and get an update and see where they're at. So I can bring some more information to next week's meeting on that as well. So this leads us pretty well into our potential funding sources. Because if our SAMS.gov is compromised, these potential funding sources might not be as excited to lend to us, or to grant us funding. So I have 2 of them that I'm currently working on. We have the Community Development Block Grant. So for this session of grants, they have $504,284 available for applicants in our region. So not much money.
That's way down from like 5 years ago.
Yeah. And so I'm currently working on the low to moderate income survey. Speaking to the public, if I come to your house and I'm asking for this, I promise I'm not looking. It's gonna be in a sealed envelope, and I'm almost done, so just a few left. And then we have the public hearing scheduled January 13th, and then we'll discuss the time on that when we have the new council in seat. The Community Impact Board, we have the capital asset self-inventory. So I've chatted with Todd of the Cassie of the Community Impact Board, or somebody that helps with that. And so,
Is that Todd Thornton from CERTA,
yes,
the one that already gave the CASI information to 18 months ago?
probably.
Yeah, okay.
Well, we
think
have to
it's
submit a
annual.
new one every May.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be an annual thing,
It
right?
is, yeah.
I think it has a lot, it's much more in depth than what you sent in earlier this year. They've like made
Let
it
me pull it
much
up,
more
'cause it's next.
robust, would be a nice way to say
Yeah,
it.
go ahead, I didn't mean to interrupt. I
Yeah.
want to be sure we something we're seeing.
Yeah, it's definitely the same request.
Okay, so I checked in with Todd because at the last time I discussed this capital asset self-inventory with everyone, the question was on our last slide, or the last tab, which is prioritization summary sheet. Our question was, do we prioritize just the needs that Town of Bluff is paying for, or do we prioritize the needs that of all of the things that we are receiving services for, even if we have an interlocal agreement? And we actually prioritize all of our needs, including those that have interlocal agreements. And when it comes to it, we can write a letter of support for San Juan County that will help their application for something that will actually benefit us. So I have not updated our inventory based on that information. I don't want to take up all of our time today, so this is something that maybe at DRC we'll look at a little bit further and present it back next week for discussion, vote, approval, all those good things. So think about how much you would like to have natural gas in Bluff. Just kidding.
Yeah, I think you're talking emergency services. That was
Yeah,
the-
emergency
That was the one
services is
that
how
kicked
that
it off, I think,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, and then even police force and lots of many other things. And so I know that we can't make decisions, but just to kind of wrap things up, what we have discussed today, what I would like some more direction and voting on for next week. The review and adjustment of those budget allocations of the GOEO funds. Next steps for that terminated EPA grant, and then I'd like to come back with final information on what it's gonna look like demo for next steps, what to do with our reallocated funds. So thoughts, questions, concerns?
I think we already expressed them.
I think so too, but you're not allowed to make decisions today.
I know, I
so-
know. No, but.
If you have any further thoughts, you know where to find me. And if you wanna look through the CDBG booklet, it lives in my office.
Linda, did you have something?
I just was curious, in all of our network connecting, are there other grant opportunities outside of CDBG and CIB that would fit this project? If so, can we get some direction as to how our administrative team should approach those? What's the timeline? Are there things coming up by the end of the year or that we would want to apply for in the first quarter? and kind of help prioritize our bandwidth if we're gonna be looking at some of the like CDBG, CIB, and then versus these other types of grants. I know one that had come up a lot was Eccles, et cetera, et cetera. So I'd like to get more direction for administrative staff on that as well.
I know we pushed out talking about Eccles for 4 or 5 years because they tend to like the bigger turnkey projects that they can walk out and be done. But I do, what I've heard from a couple of people connected to Eccles, people connected to Eccles, is that they're rethinking kind of that model with some of the funding that's been cut, like being able to help out on more piecemeal. So we might go back and take a look at what contacts do folks have in Eccles?
Well, and I would say, I mean, we're almost turnkey, like we've got the construction documents now,
Yeah.
like. Money for the project, please, let's go.
I think it's worth at this juncture, looking at Eccles and figuring out who to.
I really think that that's a conversation to have with Lenise as well with stewardship, because, you know, I mean, I think that they've got a lot of stuff on the ground, and since they are our grant partner on this, you know, I mean, I think that they will probably have some ideas of.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think also if we can kind of keep in mind our cultural commitment. Already here.
But you
You
were
know-
coming here for 4 o'clock. Now you might have been an hour late.
Well, I know, but that's the 4 o'clock. But I think if we can focus on our cultural aspect of that too, that it's still, you know, I think there are organizations out there that are really, you know, aware and under. That said, so much cultural stuff has been cut. I think that that might go well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If funding, I know that you guys can't make decisions or vote, but I'll also chat with Lenise if there's anything that comes up that we would need a nonprofit partner to apply for, if they would be willing to do that as well. As we proceed.
So when NDN gave Utah to NAPA went to ostensibly put into the building, they're really strongly funded. And if we haven't lost the focus of the building, the focus is still the same, the mission's still the same.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean, and I think we need to still rely on our cultural, you know, I mean, that our original design for this building was to create a cultural center for the Navajo culture, and
I mean, maybe that's,
I think that's still important.
maybe that's an organization reaching out since they have funding. And the rumor is they're not going to fund Utah to NAPA.
I think I just made a contact with them, so I'll reach out. I think.
Okay.
Awesome.
Other ideas anybody might have for funding at this point?
Private donors, is there anyone that is interested?
The sign hasn't been ordered yet for the name of the building, so we're just
It's
saying.
true.
If you've got $2.5 million laying around and you don't know where to put it before the end of the tax year.
Yeah.
Looking for somewhere to put that money.
Glad to hear it.
So you would name it after me if I donated a lot of money, even though I have said multiple times, boy, we should not have done this.
Money speaks loud. Don't worry, we hear the money.
And we've also heard you say that when we decided on this, you weren't very excited about it, but as we talked about it, you got more excited.
See,
about it,
I did.
so-
That's true.
I did, I forgot.
Thank you, Leah.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Malia.
Thanks for spending an hour earlier than you were planning.
No, that's great. Maybe we restart the recorder since that's a nice clean.
Now, hold on a sec. It is 3:57 and turning off the recorder and rebooting. I'm just gonna do stop and restart.
I left, I didn't end it, did I?
Nope, you're good. Thank you.
So, I'm starting roughly at 3:59 PM for the rest of the work session agenda items on December 9th, 2025. All right, number 2. Review and discussion of Town of Bluff, Utah draft ordinance for renewable energy. So, what's everybody's thinking about where this ordinance is at this point? Are there any changes that anybody sees that haven't been made? That they want to make, or that they want to talk about where they didn't initially catch changes?
I did want to note that I made some formatting changes to meet ADA compliance, after planning and zoning signed off on or recommended to move the document to, you all. I also changed, the numbering and the formatting to align to our other ordinances that were passed recently, specifically the cemetery ordinance. So if you are seeing the document and it looks different from a formatting, that is why.
I don't have any other thoughts on it. It looks fine to me. In the form that it's into, bring it into the meeting after this. Does anybody have anything that they've caught or seen?
The only thing, and I might be reading this wrong, or there might be a reason they had it in here. On page 6, under item 2, site plan. And it's on, numbers 4 and 8 look very similar to me. 8 asks for a decommissioning plan and 4 asks for a decommissioning plan and other documents required by the decommissioning section of this ordinance. And so I'm wondering if 8 just needs to be struck.
Yeah, it looks like an editing problem.
Okay.
You know what? It probably is duplicative. And what I would like to see is, rather than enforcing as required by the decommissioning section, is actually cite to the section. So that you don't have to dig through to the next page, which would be the 8.01.060 decommissioning.
Can you read me section number again?
8.01.060.
I removed what was item 8, added an and under 7, because these are all ands, and then reference section 8.01.0.
Good catch. Anybody see anything else?
The only other thing that I'll need to do is add in a brief ADA description for the tables, the charts. Which will essentially just be a summary of what's in the chart. And I did not have time to do that last time. And there are only 2 charts.
Anybody have anything else?
No.
Or do we want to move to the next one? Okay, let me just make a note for it. Where does that ADA notice go? Where you put in the description, does it?
Oh, it'll
does it
just be like a
still
little,
like-
it'll like look like a little footnote under it. So it's essentially just so the screen readers can just read that off as opposed to trying to jump through the cells.
I just wasn't sure how that, where that gets fitted in, yeah. All right, then the next one would be number 3, review and discussion of the town of Bluff, Utah draft ordinance. Amending Title 6 of the municipal code to adopt provisions for mobile home and recreational vehicle parks. Provisions for tiny houses, mobile homes and modular homes and related terms.
I will be honest, I have not done any of the ADA cleanup, and there's quite a lot since it is now being combined into the zoning code. We did get confirmation from Chris McEnany, our legal counsel, that even though we are making this addition to the zoning code, because the contextual changes are just for the RVs, and we held a public hearing on the RV section, we don't need to hold a separate public hearing for the zoning code. So it just moves in as the context of the RVs. So just so you're aware. I did leave in the comments from planning and zoning of this document. It was more notated than the renewable energy, which was rather cleaned up. So if there are any comments you want me to go to on certain pages, please let me know and I can move on the screen up.
I feel like we've talked about this one quite a bit.
It was noted from planning and zoning that they felt Chris McEnany did a good job incorporating into the zoning code where everything was supposed to be located, cleaning up the definition, meet the work that planning and zoning had done. And it seemed Chris had spent quite a lot of time to ensure that it all folded in nicely to the zoning code. The one thing that planning and zoning had called out on page 10 of the document, if you're in the Word document, under 6.01.020, adoption of official zoning code map, was comment regarding the zoning code still referencing San Juan County as the building department or as the building permit, and then us having a land use clearance process. Seeing as we now have a building department, at some point this needs to be addressed in the zoning code, but given that that was not within the scope of the RV ordinance, no changes were made.
As I understand it, the building department is still working on making some recommended changes, so that would be a good time probably in January or February to clean this piece of it up after we're sure that the land use clearance and the processes of not collecting the money and permit issues kind of got tidied up. Does that make sense?
Yes, and of course, we do have the building code ordinance, which references our current processes and how we have a building department, so. Just,
And that probably supersedes it anyway, but yeah,
that was my only thought, is if this is approved on top of what was approved in April, I don't know if we just wanna make sure it's read into the minutes that that building code is still the process that we're following.
I don't know why we can't. We're not making. We're just making a change to the administrative process on the building permit. For the. You know why it couldn't just be cleaned up now. Or we can just hold it over to January, February, and just move with it as it is. The only thing that, other than that, the yellow, these, they're at the very last page of the text, which I think is 35, it looks like there's a dangling sentence. It looks like it's just the tabulation probably is what's off. It's the time for judicial review.
Yeah, I would ask that if you all in the special meeting were to approve this contextually, that I go through and clean it up formatting wise before anything is officially signed. So it meets the ADA compliance. And doesn't look like that.
Yeah, I can see somehow why in the scope of everything that we had to do in 2025, that this didn't get the quick attention because there was so much integration that Chris had to do. So it's done. I'm fine with moving it to the meeting. Anybody have anything else?
Yes. I agree, you know, I mean, I don't understand why we couldn't just clean up where it says that you have to go to San Juan County for a building permit rather than town
Not
plus
such-
building department. You know,
I mean,
to
even,
me, it's misleading if we tell people they have to go to San Juan County as it's presented right now. We'll have people going to the county and saying, well,
and I mean, in the grand scheme of things as well, I think that even the building permit fees are pretty much the same as San Juan County, because that's what we kind of moved into. They're just outlined under our master fee schedule.
Yeah, I'm fine with just cleaning it up. It's not substantive, it's just where do you go?
Yeah, just a process. Okay,
in addition to it stating wherever you had pointed out that it states it in under residential, it also says to apply with San Juan County, and like, I didn't totally pay attention to commercial, but it probably says it there as well. So it appears a few times in the document. Yeah, there you go, right there.
performed. That one is accurate. This would still be. Because this is land records, and that's all San Juan County, so I think it's. Judicial appeals. Yeah,
That's not
that's
administrative.
that's still the same.
No, I think that that's.
Yeah, so it's just, I'll fix C on page 10
Yes, see.
and
right there.
under the building permit, yeah.
Everybody good? Okay, then review and discussion of draft revisions to the town of Bluff's general plan. So I sat in on planning and zoning's last review of this before they passed it off. Just in my mindset, I was a member of the community. I wasn't reporting for the town, and thank you, Erin, for saving me on that one, because it was not even on my radar to think I was going to be reporting for the town. I was just there to listen to what they had to say. So they passed it off with comments, which are often in the one body, right, of the work packet with comments. Or is it, or did people have to go online to look at the comments?
I am not sure at this point. Let me get out of this one real fast, 1 second.
Sorry.
No, I just want to make sure I have the right things saved in the right places. This is why in your agenda packet, it was like, look at this packet, not this packet, because there are gonna be too many. Okay. Okay. So. We're talking general plan.
Right, Jeremy.
General plan. This one will take a minute to open too.
There's the PDF version.
It is the PDF version, which should still show comments. Oh, it saved really weird though.
Yeah.
Darn it. Well, let me pull up the Word version, so you all don't have to see that.
I think the rest of it, Aaron, though, was fine. It was just that one.
Was it just that one
Yeah.
page?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. No, it did some weird stuff with my text too, I think. It's really frustrating. Okay. 1 second. All right, well, you guys can start talking through it and I can jump to you once I have this.
So planning and zoning did a lot of work on this. And then there were some additional things that popped up that they talked about. So there were changes that were made from the additions before and what we have today. I think probably this is just my kind of thinking. This was a lot to go through and really sort out with the questions that they left. We can go through these sections that have been identified as questions right now. It's 4:15. So we have time. We're making pretty good progress. Or people could individually review it. And the difficulty with doing that is Aaron will be gone for 2 weeks, so we'd like to get it passed. So I'd like to. Go ahead.
You wanna do it now? I just go through the questions now?
Yep,
Let's just do it.
That's what I'm thinking
Yeah,
is,
let's do it.
if we do it now, Erin in her spare time will be able to help us clean it up.
It's something you can work on right now.
Yay. I will note that all references to the appendices are not updated because I don't know where all the appendices are gonna go, but once those are in their rightful place, then those references will be corrected. Okay, and then I'm still working on the percentages of land ownership. I'm close, but with the disconnect, those have changed. There were questions, so section 1, land use, on private, under Bluff priorities, it was review existing and adopt new ordinances and land use policies. And then identify, review, and address issues concerning private land with the potential for commercial use. There was a question from planning and zoning as to what does that mean? What would we want to do with that? I do think that it was actually one of the planning and zoning members who had originally put the statement in, so maybe we've got a little conflicting thing here. In the grand scheme of things, I think just talking about how parcels are zoned would kind of solve this. It's not necessarily commercial versus residential versus this versus that. It's just, ensuring that planning and zoning is providing the most, or is able to recognize when zoning amendments might need to be made. And so perhaps if we just reword this to, priority for planning and zoning to, I don't know, update zoning code or, evaluate zoning, on a X basis might fix this, or maybe I'm completely misunderstanding what this comment is.
Like. I feel like it's more than just zoning. So like you. Well, this was in our initial, it's what's in our,
I don't think this was, I think this was,
was this an addition?
might be an additional. I'm gonna add to this really fast, this top one, to align with general plan vision. Because otherwise, like, why are we just adopting new ordinances? So we're gonna say we're adopting them to align with general plan. And then I see what you mean, and regarding this idea. But I mean, is that just encapsulated in the first one, that we're reviewing and adopting new ordinances?
I feel like it's,
Yeah.
almost just redundant.
Is it kind of trying to identify that we understand that when we had originally written the general plan and vision, that we were new with this and we understand that there may be revisions that are needed and that allows.
I think that's then aligned with the planning assumption under A.
If they don't think what it, if they don't know what it means for sure, we think it's redundant.
Let's take it out.
Done.
Yeah.
Okay. Ready? This one, so I changed this to state and public lands. This originally was just public lands. So I updated the title. We're still doing the percentage, working on that. We had talked about incorporating language regarding renewable energy and where we might want to have these. So I'm not sure if this should be an assumption or a priority. Maybe it's just an assumption that Bluff is open to these, but I would like some wordsmithing here.
Okay, so don't everybody make a suggestion.
Trying to figure out how you. do it.
Bluff is supportive of renewable energy sources, and uh,
Could we say Bluff is supportive of multiple types and development of renewable energy
And-
sources?
Like appropriate places.
and renewable energy is actively I was gonna just reference the renewable energy document ordinance because it says we're open to it. So. Energy.
Are there very many links to different things?
But I can.
Well, I was just thinking maybe that's,
I don't know if we wanna say that though, because there again, are we getting wordy and adding stuff that's unnecessary?
I just wanna go here.
Yeah.
Very specifically, we were advised to add information about the remaining lands north of town on Bluff Bench.
Wasn't that in trying maybe to give the opportunity to consider our community for projects that might be more friendly than they are in other portions of the county. So it does.
I think it's only wanted us to say something about the bench or who.
Chris.
Chris.
Oh, and for it.
We're all tripping through the village holding hands now. I'm sure that's what he wants to say. So can we, I'm sorry to go to D again, can we add some, I don't like the way it's just, that seems like supportive of multiple types of energy sources, renewable energy. Since we're talking on public land, I mean, seems like we need to say like, we're environmentally and culturally appropriate. We don't just blanket support.
I'm okay, yeah, I'm okay with that.
You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
put something in
yeah.
that makes it sound a little more like,
Mhm.
we do have deference to it.
Yeah,
Appropriate is such a hard word though. It's like, what's appropriate to me might not be appropriate to you. Fine, can you, is there a better word than appropriate? Word,
Acceptables.
I think it's culturally, it's not really up to us anyways.
Could you not use the word culturally and say consistent with Bluff's vision? You skate around it. Consistent with Bluff's environmental activists, green activists.
how about that? Mm,
There you go.
consistent.
just take out the end.
Yeah, you wanna get, okay.
No, no,
Cultural
no, 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 not
Ah.
there.
Oh my God.
Culture is consistent.
There you go, okay, thanks. We got there, okay. Better,
Better.
okay.
What do we want to say about what?
Well, in some ways, I disagree with Chris on this, that one of the things we got ripped up on in the depositions were when we got very specific, but it wasn't necessarily consistent with what we've been able to accomplish. And I would hate to give us put another thing in but we're aspirationally, this is where we want to be and what we want to do, but we haven't gotten there yet. And so,
The assumption is just that we receive notices from trust lands and the Bureau of Land Management of potential projects, and we will, you know, because we receive those notices and something about like, we will weigh in or we will remain knowledgeable of what these projects are and or something to that effect. Because like the assumption is we get those packets in the mail, town council will weigh in if it's something that they feel as though it's going to be significant.
Was he trying to stress that we're not absolutely against working with either of those? So could it be something that we would like to still be considered as a partner in? Yeah,
I don't know if that has to be in the general plan. I think if we were moving towards like that ordinance that King County adopted, like that would be kind of more at that spot. I think the thought in the general plan was more about like, what is the plan for the Bluff bench? Like, the general plan is supposed to set out kind of goals for, you know, specific areas. And, you know, is there a particular zoning type or, you know, and it doesn't have to be now, but like, is there a future zone that?
State something that Bluff would like to be considered.
When you put the big box store in.
Yeah. Bluff would like to be considered with. In trust land public and trust land development. In concerns of how it would affect our community. Considered and participate in planning of. Future development of trust and public land surrounding our community. I don't even think it's just still within, I mean, within town boundaries, I mean, we just had a large portion of that. Removed from our town boundaries, but we would still like consideration on how those were developed. Because they're surrounding our town boundaries.
Hmm,
And we did get pulled in for BL and stuff way outside of that for comment.
It's within and around. Bluff boundaries.
Adjacent.
that's cool.
Does that kind of state, or does that kind of address what Chris was trying to?
I think so.
I mean, I think he was
I
trying
think
to
we're-
express that we were still willing, we were still interested in working with Sitla on what happens on these pieces of property.
As a reminder, a lot of stuff was moved to the appendices. They noted that some of the housing data was conflicting here and here, so what source would you like us to cite? The housing income or the housing study that was performed by the economic development guy, the census? I know the census was incomplete, so I'm kind of thinking housing guy.
Trying to remember the numbers that he presented, I
think I got it.
didn't necessarily think that they were completely.
Everybody deserves even.
So I just need to know which set of numbers we should reference.
You know, for the purposes of funding and all those things, we have to go with the census numbers. And I have problems with both sets of numbers. So I would say I would use the census numbers, but that's just me.
Okay.
What about
Excellent.
anybody feel strongly the
I
other?
don't know, I kind of thought the purpose of doing this was so that we could approach. Using numbers out of this study, which one's more accurate? I mean, there's flaws
Or
with
just
both of them, but.
or just recognize that they're conflicting. You know, use them both and just say, you know, that the census was never completed. It was inaccurate. These were numbers done in a study, you know, we accept both as being roughly the parameters. I don't know, something.
I mean, how grossly inaccurate was the census, I guess was.
I would-
This says 3 cents.
So they came in around 242 or something like that.
So that's, to me, that's not that.
Oh,
inaccurate.
but it's, so it's like.
So we had a number of households, 1%.
Percentage wise, don't you
7.
look at it for dollars,
Yeah,
it's hugely inaccurate.
well, this one just says household though, this doesn't say number of residents. so-
Yeah, up at the top. More community overview. sorry, don't look. Bluff demographics, population, total household 71.
And is that the census?
This is the census and
And the other one was 127.
27. And same, I think there was some median income discrepancies.
Sure. Or just recognize that if people wanna do the study one. Take out any census information and just footnote the other and say, you know, the 2020 census was in.
This is what we have, they both might be inaccurate,
Like,
both likely inaccurate.
either,
Malia, I need you to go count some people. No, I'm just kidding.
Drew, we need Drew.
Okay, all right, let me get back down to what we were looking at here. Okay. So. We added quite a lot on housing. We just talked about this. A lot of this is just referencing back to the strategic plan. Of workforce. The agricultural section is required by state code, so Amanda worked to get all of that in there. I need help for planning assumptions for water. No one ever got back to me on this.
what's under, can you scroll down a little bit, saying green? So I'm not good with sorting out assumptions, priorities and policies. But it seems to me that planning assumptions and the beginning of incorporation was to merge water rights and water management into a cohesive unit.
And that is also what's laid out in the strategic plan, correct?
And I think, I'm sorry for not getting back with you on that, I meant.
Oh, no, like
to
collect, like, I'm not calling anyone out, but I can put it out to, no, not one
And then-
person.
and
It's,
I did-
it's the community.
I did talk with Marks about it as well. So, and you state what your, I think let's get started with what you state.
So what I said, I think, was that one of the major points of incorporation was to merge the water rights with the management of water and have a cohesive unit. That's really terribly worded, but I'm not good at that.
Well, but let's start there and then we can, by getting it down,
Good
good
luck.
wordsmith it.
It'll be totally different, which will be just fine with me. But like I said, I'm not sure if that's an assumption or a priority on my part, but.
in order to, I think still with A, in order to, no, oh, where, okay. In order to continue to have a yeah, I was gonna say a sustainable town water system. I think that for planning assumptions, we need to state that we recognize two different diversion points for water use, and that we need to pay particular attention to ways in which we can prove use of both diversion points, so we don't lose them in the future.
Um.
In protection, it is important to develop a plan to show use from both sources.
To be protected by. Protected by
Developing plans, developing appropriate plans.
developing,
Because if we can show, if we can show that we have a plan for use. Then our water rights are protected. If we don't have any plans for use for different diversions, then we are in jeopardy of losing water rights.
alright, so the two, I'll read these and, so B, all stakeholders value the health and safety of Bluff residents and visitors. Residents. And visitors. And C, Bluff's two water rights with points of diversion from A, the San Juan River, and B, town wells. Are valuable assets to the community that must be protected by developing actionable plans for water use. Work. Okay. Do we want to talk about a planning assumption that water, like the water system is a technical, like a technically advanced asset that we need to bring in human capital, or do we just want to leave it as simple as possible here?
Yeah, so
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to add a priority about moving water under the town, or do we want to just leave that as a planning assumption?
I think that that's stated in A.
Every time the topic comes up about setting any kind of marker other than being able to accomplish it, it gets everybody, not everybody, it stirs a certain pot of going back to looking at 20, 30, 40, years ago. I think we all recognize that the water is important and we need to work together, and we're slowly moving. But I'm really iffy about putting any kind of a time frame.
I
'Cause some
agree
of,
with that, Ann. I think that's inadequate. I think all people know that I think it's hard to put an exact number on things. So I think by saying that the intention to merge the water distribution and the entity holding water rights is a good thing to say. We're working on that. It's. But I think it's hard to say this will be done by the end of 2026.
Okay.
Just going for 2025.
Right. Or 2024 or 2023.
Anything else under water?
Some really nice photos.
Drive a little bit, again, don't focus on formatting. All right, I think those were the main comments. The water was the big one. Clearly you need to put the appendices in order and then tighten up the statistics. Are there other elements that you have questions about or would like to review in the work session?
I'm good with it. Anybody?
Are we good to move it in the next meeting?
If everybody's comfortable with the formatting that you're seeing now, without the appendices, we can address it in the meeting because I believe I have and vote in there. Otherwise, I move it to the 16th. So
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
you're okay.
I would just say if you know, the data part, like the percentages and the data, those are just concrete numbers that we will be able to put in. Those aren't subjective, so.
Yeah.
And those were the pieces that I thought were, that needed to be cleaned up. So if you were comfortable approving the body, then those could just be added.
There was one more question I had about water real quick, and it may be in the strategic plan. I haven't gone through everything very well, but is there something in there about like mapping out and like some future planning for that with water?
Mapping out what
Like mapping out wherever,
we
like,
haven't mapped.
oh, okay. So it's not just marks and,
No, we have physical maps. They can't be widely dispersed. They can't, it's a
right,
homeland security
right,
issue type stuff like that, so they aren't just turned over to anyone and everyone, but there are
Okay.
physical maps.
okay,
And then they have within their succession planning, a strategic plan for the water department to do things like, shut off valves like in the team, emergency response teams and things like that.
okay, sweet. I feel like I just heard a rumor from someone, I hadn't talked to Marks or anything about it, they're like, we don't have it. Scary.
Bluff, not around Bluff.
So is everybody good to move off of this topic? Okay. Number 5, discussion of 2026 meeting and work session dates for the Bluff Town Council. So I talked to 2 of the 3 incoming and then to the 2 remaining. And it looks to me, just from the conversations prior to 2 hours ago, that sticking with the current schedule is what we would publish. That would be the first Tuesday of the month from 4 to 5:30 would be a meeting. The second Tuesday, 4 to 5:30 would be a work session. The third Tuesday would be a meeting. 4 to 5:30 was, of course, whatever usual flexibility that's thrown in there, but that's what would be public. if, and this is, we need to publish it in December. It can be changed in January or February if the council finds it doesn't work. What, so Jen, Britt, Spencer, you're the three in here right now. Any thoughts about what you want to see happen? This is the time to at least the three of you hash it out.
I like this schedule because I think by meeting it, oh, well, okay, there's a few different reasons. I like to eat dinner. That's probably my number one. And I feel like if we try to shoot to get away from here at 5:30, that we could easily. I also, this is just me personally speaking, I also know that if I have a meeting at 4 o'clock, it prohibits me from trying to plan other things during the day, which inevitably seem to run longer than they're supposed to. So like say, if we had a meeting starting at 6 o'clock, I'm a lot more tempted to say, oh, I can do a Farmington run if I leave and get back. And then, you know, I mean, but by saying 4 o'clock, it eliminates a lot of those things. So these are personal, these are strictly personal, both of those things for me. I also like having 2 meetings at a work session a week or a month, because I feel like it gives us ample time to address things that need to be addressed. Seems like there's always something that comes up. I'm afraid if we limit it to 1 meeting and 1 work session, that we're gonna have a hard time holding to that.
I do like the pacing that we've come to, but like, I'm also flexible to try something else.
Right.
I do like the pacing and I love the 4 o'clock thing. Same thing. I can get the kids and put them away with Sarah and then come down and still do dinner and stuff. So it's perfect. I mean, one of the things I like about doing the 3 meeting, and even then I still feel like we get spillover meetings. I'm mostly worried about spillover meetings, like anything that allow, like where it's like, oh crap, we're at the end of the month and we have all these things that are due and we have to get them through. And I wouldn't want to do the situation where we're like having to tack on, you know what I mean, like plan. So comfortable with either way. I like the rhythm we've got now, but that's also the rhythm of this group, so.
I mean, I'm okay with what we've been doing. I also haven't been in it long enough to totally have a informed opinion on what it always looks like. So, I mean, I'm also, for right now, I'm just down to keep rolling with it.
I do prefer Tuesdays.
Tuesdays are fine for me.
Or anything but Monday and Friday. So,
I can work around any of it, I suppose. I just need, it's the way I set up my schedule is I pick a day and I make sure I have things covered on that day. I will not do Friday meetings.
Yeah, I'm good. Not for.
I don't like that either. So, as long as I'm fine with keeping it at least Tuesday. Thursday, but Tuesday's fine. 4 o'clock's fine. Shoot, okay, so what is the process? So if we were to. We have to post them all in December, because I felt like, didn't we come in when we started, didn't we come in January and then?
We did because I screwed up. I mean, let's
Well,
be
do it
honest.
again, and then we're gonna get in trouble this time, or you're gonna be gone.
Yeah, we're supposed to post it before we get to the first meeting,
Okay.
and so.
So like, what's the process if we like post them as continue and then?
You just repost, you know, vote, repost from the notice again. And change it on the website, change it, you know, just like you're doing it now. So like if you got January 6th and y'all decided to do it differently, you could change it. And it's, you know, it's kind of the same thing like adding meetings or things. And you just have, the main thing is getting the notice out. And I thank you for pointing out I screwed up.
Cause I had it in mind, I was like, oh, they'll come in and we'll have that conversation. It's like our first conversation is already, but I didn't realize it was an issue. I thought.
Well, it is because we have to have the first meeting in January notice
Yeah.
in the paper.
When do you have to?
We're gonna run it this week. We're out to get it in this week. And I went through and hand wrote out kind of what it would look like if we kept the same thing.
I mean, and it makes sense to me too. Like I do understand, especially if people on council are traveling and there's concerns about not having them there, then I would rather have people there than
Mhm,
not have them
mhm.
there. So, but maybe it's good in the first month because we'll be getting, I imagine the first month's gonna be kind of,
Chaotic?
yeah,
Just
I mean,
saying.
just a little, bit, like, I mean, this would, like. with
It'll be
time
fine.
pass. I mean, it'll be fine.
It's gonna be finding a new rhythm, is what it is, so.
So I mean, I'm comfortable with doing it like the first month, trying to free, and then just working with the group when we can actually all talk together and change it if we need to.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Find a stride after that first month.
I think you should have it on Wednesdays from 6 to 8.
No, thanks.
We had, didn't we?
That gets me out of waterboard.
Yeah, I'm looking at Aaron today off.
Oh, yeah, it is.
We can have it on Wednesdays. I'll just take Tuesday.
When we started, we weren't doing this exact pace, right? We weren't doing,
We were
work
doing,
sessions like that.
we were doing, when we first started, we were still doing Tuesdays, but we were doing them later and we moved them earlier so that you could teach your class. But then I liked having them earlier.
then
so-
Yeah, we
added
had the
that-
six-
That work session, like space, right? Didn't we do that later?
Yeah, I
When we
think
started, we had 4 meetings.
Board meetings, okay,
Yeah,
and then we
and then
switched it to that,
Switched
yeah.
it down to 3 and then made the middle one work session.
Or if we just did 1 noon to 6.
Yeah.
You feed us, we have a tendency, if you feed us and give us energy drinks. Yeah.
it's true.
We have, we get hangry in our meetings.
It does have to be posted on our marquee, and you'll notice if you look at our marquee, it's posted there, the meetings for the entire year. And we did meet 4 times a month for felt like years, so this has been a little bit of vacation.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, is that okay with y'all? I mean, and I think, cause I would really like to be able to speak with Patrick too, when we can actually talk openly about it. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is what it is. We need to do something. So we go into the meeting and pick something, run it, and then we all can change it. You just can't disband and not meet. Not an option. Okay, let's move to number 6, review and discussion of proposed wildland and fire cooperative agreement. This is the agreement that we do every 5 years with this, with the state. And with our local fire warden, Ryan MacArthur. And it's interesting. When I looked at it, I wasn't sure I was reading it correctly, so I sent off the chief Lot. I'm still not sure I'm reading it correctly. He's not sure we're reading it correctly, but we're gonna go with it. Because they do a risk assessment and they look at the number of wildland fires we've had, I think 3, it might be 2, but they throw out the high one, the low one. Then they look at who's protected their property and done cleanup. Then we don't pay a dollar amount unless our fire department doesn't do any work. But given our fire department and the trainings and everything, we've never had to lay out a cash amount. I do not remember what it was for this, and this makes no sense to me, but what they're saying is the total participation commitment is $17. I feel like that cannot be right. Anthony, Chief Locke said, and I'm baffled to think that we only owe $17. And Chief, you're probably gonna be sorry I'm reading this out loud. If this is real, I'll gladly pay it out of pocket and save myself the paperwork. I'm not.
My guess is that Chief Lot was able to provide enough evidence of training or in kind that the total dollar amount due was eliminated, and so it really is only a $17 fiscal impact to us because they are doing all of this in-kind work from their side.
And we did all of that work this spring for.
Yeah.
Firemen, you know, I mean, that's what we titled that whole entire
Yeah.
weekend, and, I mean, Aaron and Leah took meticulous records of counting loads and hours spent and all of that kind of stuff, so
Yeah,
I feel like we did a lot more last year than we ever have done in the past.
I think because of the time frame in which it was recorded, yes, it seems really low, but I think all of the in-kind work by our very wonderful fire department, I think that number is probably accurate.
And I will remind us all that our first one was based on totally a crapshoot of
Right.
numbers 5 or 6 years ago. So we'll have that on our special meeting to vote. Anybody have any questions about it? I really appreciate what the fire department's done, so thank you to the fire department. No joke. Okay, number 7, report by the council on the status of the strategic plan. I should have probably had our projects listed, on the strategic plan projects, but so I think the revision of the general plan is a huge piece that everybody's worked on. And cemetery is slowly but surely coming together. It won't, I'm sure it would not be handed off completely done by December 31st, but the main pieces will be in place. The mapping is done. We don't know the final results yet. We have an MOU that we're working on with all the stakeholders. We have a compilation, thanks to Kathy Carson, of all the known burials, including dates of birth and death and some family kinships. Aaron and Kathy Carson and I were up there today to look at the up to 20 burials that we have no information about. And so Linda, if you can remember to do this, to send out a blast to folks, that there are those pink or orange or red? Orange. The orange flags in the cemetery are for mapping purposes. Do not pull them out of the ground or move them. And they are not available spots. In fact, they are the opposite.
They're occupied.
They are occupied. So if you need help with the wording, let me know. I can work on it with you tomorrow. Okay,
Treat them like markers, basically. for now. They are.
no small children, dogs or horses up there at home. Okay, anybody else have anything to report on?
I helped out a little bit, like inadvertently today, but just because I happened to be walking by these guys when they were at the cemetery. I mean, I can't remember the last time we did one of these check-ins, but we all did the strategic plan or the succession planning meetings, and stuff like that. So that was part of this. As far as my individual things, been plugging away a little bit, not as much as I would like on the sole source aquifer thing. Malia gave me some past grant applications that I can pull language from, so I've been doing that a little bit, but it's not much more, not much better language than what was in there, not like nice language, so I'm pulling from like strategic plan and other, my pull from the general plans and stuff like that, but yeah, I'm working on that. The wood bank is still there, still going. Basically right now it's been I've had a handful of people reach out for emergency kind of situations. They've reached out to Malia and we've just kind of helped them out as people have asked. But like, I do not have a system set up for like being equitable on how this is being distributed. So I not necessarily wanting to give that out a ton, but if we happen to have somebody that for sure needs help, like let me know, we'll see what we can do. But it's not a free for all at the moment. So the plan for that is to try to basically, I would like it to be set up as a backup bank for the other banks that are more run and have better distribution. So but that's where we are with that. And we've had some of the guys, some of the former missionaries have taken out when they've run into folks that have asked for wood from them, they've asked for it from us. They've taken pictures and stuff. So. Yeah, I think that's all I've been looking.
Well, Spencer can report on what he's doing on his strategic plan.
Spencer's reading the strategic plan.
That's right.
It's becoming familiar. He's probably working on some of the elected leadership stuff, becoming familiar with the documents that are needed.
Yes, yes.
He is coming up to speed on organizational effectiveness. Yeah.
This is how you report.
No, I did meet with Spencer and all folks yesterday to talk about some of like how the budget is put together and things like that, and putting together kind of like a training plan. So our goal is to have our incoming council members up to speed as quickly as possible. Well, I'm not gonna have like probably a formal like packet of information. I am pulling together, you know, this is where you get this resource and this is where you get this resource, which all falls under organizational effectiveness.
Its biggest contribution is just stepping into the land spot.
Oh.
So.
I would say that the entire council and definitely Malia are working hard on parks, recreation and sustainability because we got the playground equipment in.
The
Mm.
pavilion.
Woo woo.
And water line looks like it's being worked on.
I'll report on my strategic plan, Bills.
All right.
Oh, sorry.
Going to be relocated to be determined. Playground committee,
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I was gonna talk about playground equipment sitting on the pavilion, but no, it's all good, cause I can't take any credit for it. Other than being on the playground committee, which ordered it, but, what else? CCC is kind of on hold, although we do have a set of plans to review in 2 days, so that'll be a big step. I think today's meeting with where we go from there was good. Can't think of anything specific.
Would just say like collectively as a whole, the RV ordinance, the renewable energy ordinance, not to like jump the gun. I don't know what you guys are gonna do in the next meeting in 10 minutes, but getting those done, getting the cemetery ordinance done, like that codification is actually a lot of work. And so between planning and zoning and you all, those are definitely drivers of like the community and, you know, supporting the community, ensuring that you're putting things into code. And, you know, I don't want to discount all the work that's happened over the last year on those. Like those are really big documents. So
The general plan revision too was specific, you know, in keeping up with the strategic plan, keeping it livable.
definitely.
Linda, anything that you want to talk about?
So all the short-term rental license renewals are out and we're trying to get those checks. So Aaron's going to be doing the business license because they go further into January. The other thing that I'm doing is as the records officer and grandma person, making sure everything is up to date so that when the new council is working, it's, you know, everything is where it should be.
Okay. So number 8 is a review and discussion of the local homeless coordinating council pending projects. And I put this on so that we could talk about it and kind of have a game plan, but. So this council meets, I want to say every other month, but it could be quarterly. But it's a lot of the stakeholders, it's a requirement of the state. that we have a local coordinating council for homelessness. The reason it's on here is that first week of January, we do the point in time count of people who are unsheltered. And I don't have the exact date, but I will, I should have it on the 16th. And so what you could hear from the local coordinator, who is generally Nat McDonald or someone on the staff, is that you have one day to do it, you do it in the middle of the night kind of thing. No, you actually have 3 days to do it. It's over a time period. In fact, the state, when I raised some questions, the state encouraged us not to go out at night and look for people. And it's, since we have so much public and state land, well, it really does take, you know, a good solid day of just checking places where people might be camping, or not camping, living camping. So there's an electronic reporting form and training that probably will come out right around the holidays, and we won't really know when it's coming out. I'm hoping to be able to nail this down for the meeting on the 16th. I'm willing to help with it. It'll probably be around the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th of January. I don't do the electronic reporting because I'm just not that good with my cell phone when you're out driving around and having, although it says it'll store it, I don't trust it. It's easier for me to do it on the paper form that they give. There's a survey that has to be done in the next 10 days, and I'll do the survey because I think what San Juan County might be thinking is that they want to scale back on how we do this and change the process. So I'll do the survey and then let everybody know what it looks like on the 16th. But I think the incoming council needs to have a person designated either from the council or in the community that's reliable to go out and do this. The first year, San Juan County reported 0 homeless people, which I think we all would recognize that's not accurate. The problem is that it's a shifting criteria. Every year we get different information. It's not the same criteria as USDA uses for unsheltered people to provide food. It's not the same criteria as the census uses. It's a whole other criteria. So somebody couch surfing for one purpose may not count for unsheltered homeless here in this survey. But I'm willing to help with that. And it's best done in pairs where you can have a nice conversation and drive around and one person tabulate. And usually every year we found, I'd say the average is 4 or 5 people or families that are living in a car, living in their tent somewhere. And it really, the criteria is, can you cook? Can you go to the bathroom? And are you sheltered? For some reason, living in a cardboard box does not count, or at least hasn't in the past. So it's really going to the training. It's online. Usually they designate a day and they run through the criteria. But I wanted it to be on everybody's radar because somebody's going to need to learn how to do it. Any questions?
We appoint you to do it now. Since
I
you
don't
already know how.
I don't mind doing it.
We designate you.
But, and I would caution from past experience working with one particular person, I would caution about the idea of thinking that enhancing the number by cheating basically is a good idea. You know, there are people who need the services, and that's how San Juan County gets its money to provide the shelter services that we have. Like if somebody is unsheltered here, there's some motel that's committed to taking them, and Salem County pays for up to 7 days. But it is not helpful to inflate the numbers, not that anybody here would do it, but it has happened, and let's try to be realistic. Anyway, I'll keep you posted on the 16th, and then you can all figure out who wants to ride around in the car. Is there any other?
I guess since you brought this issue up, have we come up with that list of like all the, like bodies of things that we'll need to assign people to, like tourism or, yeah, like economics and things like that, like, so we can start thinking about divvying that up.
I think I sent to Aaron an email that had Linda's list and my start of a list.
Okay.
And I think Aaron has been really great at, I don't know what method you're using, but putting in reminders like every year that these things need to be done. And do you have everybody's passwords now? If people haven't done it, we've got to have a central system of passwords.
The
And-
computer passwords I'm not worried about, but if there are like computer and your tech stuff, because we can get into all that good stuff, but if you are a reporting body for a grant and you've got to get into a grant application or tax stuff or treasurer stuff and like it's outside of what IT can help you with, then I need to either know your password or understand the contact I would go to if you were not available and would not be returning to your post.
So several of my passwords require a different device. I have to, so it's not gonna help you. We'll have to go over how to do it together.
Yeah, I think there's a lot, especially for the outgoing council members, that we just have to transfer the contact. And so either the login will completely change because it's a different point person, or we'll make sure that we get the password changed. And, you know, if it's like the office email address as the contact, then we'll get the passwords changed to the right entity, whether it's the mayor, the treasurer, or the bookkeeper. It's no problem.
Any other? We could take a 15-minute break.
So I don't, what time did you posted it for 5:30, right?
I think that could take a break here.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? It's unanimous. It's 5:15 PM. We'll come back at 5:30 for the special meeting.
All right, for folks online, I'm gonna go ahead and mute us and turn off our audio. We will return promptly at 5:30. Your audio is on and video is on.
Y'all are about to see some fast motions.
I would also like to see some.
Motion, Michael Boyer. Look like MC Hammer.
You said it's- You. I just thought it'd be fun to say it. Just, you were saying it all the time. I was like, I don't say it one. Well, I won't break the rhythm. I'll do it every other one. Actually, every third.
No, you We're ready whenever you are, yeah.
I'm ready. I'm just trying to figure out where we are. Okay, I'm turning the recorder now. This is the council special meeting. Today is December 9th, 2025. It is 5:31 PM. Roll call.
Linda Sosa,
Brett Hornsby.
Jennifer Davila.
Spencer Wade.
Ann Lepinen.
Aaron Nelson serving as town manager.
Public comment, there will be a 3-minute time limit for anyone who wishes to make a public comment. If you exceed the 3-minute time limit without permission, the meeting controller will mute you. Raise your hand if you're in the audience and you wish to make a public comment, and if you are virtual, you can raise the hand icon or put your name in the chat box. Anyone in the audience?
Both of them. Randomized.
Randomized. Okay, we'll give Luann seniority, Luann Clark.
Hi, guys. Nice to see you all again, you too. But yeah, I just appreciate you carrying on, doing things I almost couldn't come tonight because of the loss of Joe. And I like to give my whole time to just 3 minutes of moment of silence. But anyway, okay. Be fast. But we also lost Gary Guyman this week. But things must move on, and I wanted to catch you all before things run more. I really appreciate that the town has taken into account that we have equipment and machinery and things here to do the road on the Pond Road, 7th West, and then while they're here and mobilized, I really appreciate that. We're thinking of the money savings to us to do some of the other projects. Second, east is the one that they're gonna combine things. I was surprised that I didn't find out except from just the local like residential kind of let us know that it was gonna happen, because I'm still on the roads committee. I'm on active transportation. Active transportation is very much combined with transportation districts, including at UDOT. So we need to make sure we use the resources and the teams that have already done a lot of study on these different projects, bring them into these conversations before just getting something that maybe we don't want. I use the idea of like, just because it's on sale and it is cheaper, it may not be what we want. We want to make sure that we have it planned out and that we do what we need to do. I will come to you again in January. I didn't realize there was a special meeting today, but the active transportation through UDOT, that we had a meeting. And they've got us on the map and it's really great. And so I will present that in January just so that I can be on the agenda anytime. And active transportation isn't just what you don't want is fast and smooth and speedy, because you'll gun it and it'll be a racetrack kind of thing. The people in the neighborhood, in their yards, don't want speeding cars going by, people walking, bicycling, don't want that. So you put curves in, and since today, and I appreciate the help that those of you that responded, assured me that those sorts of things have been looked at, but as they're building it, if you can make sure that they're putting the curves in. We built the part at the highway for the laundromat. We put it clear to the left so that it wouldn't go through the waiting tree, and so it could come down and then swoop around, and that's why it's the way it is. That's why that comes off that way. So smaller is better, narrower is better, islands, bushes, those kinds of things. And it goes along with, you know, the active transportation plan as part of this general plan and the strategic. And that's. What I'm doing.
Thanks, Lou. And I just would like to respond to one thing. We haven't had a roads meeting. This all just kind of went. quickly.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, just bring those teams in. Yeah, I appreciate that I wasn't just like forgotten, but bring those teams in when you have a project and get some input, and this is wise.
Thank you. So if we can change seats and we'll have. Thank you, Amanda.
And all I had to offer or say is that there's a couple things. One, people speed down the road, even though it's got potholes and dirt.
Identify the road.
Mine, so, thank you. Bumpy Road, Mulberry, it's East Mulberry, but that's my address. It's not East Mulberry, it's Second East.
Bumpy road.
The bumpy road, and so people speed down anyways, but I'm just think that that's, I'd hate to have it be something that becomes more speedy, a place that is more speedy or ability to speed more like, you know, up and down Cemetery Hill, but then also wondering about, because I know firsthand that it is a river. When it rains, it comes off of Malia, and then like there's a divot on the other side of the road, and that is the waterway out. So I just wonder if that's been taken into consideration, or just to mention that. It gets very, like, I've thrown rocks in divots and, you know, pushed because of that water that needs a place to go. It comes down and goes on that.
One day we'll slow the water coming down from our property.
But yeah, I don't know how, that far end of the road, but so that was just my other thought. I heard it was going to be chipped. Is that what the word is? Stone, what is?
Can I respond? real
Yeah, go
fast?
ahead.
Okay, so I apologize for the email sent out to the neighbors. I was using the technical term, which is crushed asphalt. But that is gravel. That is equivalent to gravel. It is
What-
not gonna be it's called crushed asphalt. And so it's a recycled material where they are taking old asphalt, but it's a pulverized material that is the size of gravel. So it's not paved. We are not chip sealing, none of that. It is going to be a gravel similar surface.
So then I guess I would just wonder too, like, I mean, I'm sure if it's not. That there would need to be a plan from the movement of that by large amounts of water. The twice a year that it does, you know, that it does move or whatever. So just those are thoughts that from somebody who lives, one of the. 2/3 of people that live on that road. That those are concerns or thoughts, but I love my little. Country dirt road, I would love it, probably whatever chipping as well too, I wonder, have we talked about the water and thought about the water, and do you know how much water? Because it does turn into a river the 2 times a year that it rains.
Thank you.
I have one other, just.
Oh, sure, let's go for
Just
it.
the advantage of that paving material, because it will be flat top, it will be dark, if that's what's on top. Compared to gravel, if we've got a gravel pit. Maybe ask them why, because gravel would be more aesthetic and more natural and keeping with the. Not adding pollutants to the. Thank you.
Sure.
I miss y'all.
Anyone online?
If folks would like to make a comment, if you're participating online, please raise your hand, put your name in the chat box. Or if you don't know how to do any of that and you just want to unmute yourself, go ahead. We do have guests online, but I'm not seeing anyone who has raised their hands in the last 8 minutes.
Okay, it's 5:39. I am ending public comment and moving to the unfinished business. Number 1 is discussion and vote on Town of Bluff, Utah draft ordinance for renewable energy. And I just will note for the record that the first 5 items have all been discussed in work session. and ad nauseum and other meetings.
Motion to approve Town of Bluff, Utah draft ordinance for renewable energy.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It's unanimous. Number 2, discussion and vote on Town of Bluff, Utah draft ordinance amending Title 6 of the municipal code to adopt provisions for mobile home and recreational vehicle parks, provisions for tiny houses, mobile homes, and modular homes, and related terms.
Same thing discussed ad nauseum. So, motion to approve Town of Bluff, Utah draft ordinance amending Title 6 of the municipal code to adopt provisions for mobile home and recreational vehicle parks, provisions for tiny houses, mobile homes, and modular homes, and related terms.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It's unanimous. Number 3, discussion and vote on Bluff Town Council 2026 schedule for meetings and work sessions. Does this require more discussion, or does somebody want to make a motion?
I mean, I think we can motion for what we talked about and then change it as needed. So, do I have to be particular to, like, can I just be like, motion to adopt Bluff Town Council 2026 schedule of meetings and work sessions on the first 3 Tuesdays of every month?
That's
Is that enough? 4 minutes. From 4 to 5:30.
I second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? It's unanimous. Discussion and vote on cooperative wildfire system 2026 participation commitment calculation for Bluff.
Motion to approve cooperative wildfire system 2026 participation commitment calculation for Bluff.
Second.
Faster than I could get the agreement out. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so 4 and 5 are actually the same things, so I'm going to delete 5. And I'm gonna take 1 second here to find where I sign. Then number 6, discussion and vote on Jones and DeMille notice to proceed. This was the notice that they needed signature for to be able to proceed with the work that they were doing with Sondrager, I believe. And so I did sign it already because they were coming in on Monday and they couldn't come in and start the work unless we signed it, but the bidding and everything is what we had.
Motion to approve Jones and DeMille notice to proceed.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Can I, just let y'all know, because Erin was concerned that since you will be out of town and she will be out of town and Michael is already out of town. Well, when they're likely working.
Whole, well, I guess in general for all of the stuff, yes,
I
but
would-
definitely for the next couple.
I will be, with the exception of the 22nd and possibly 23rd.
In terms of coordinating with Sandra or Jones and DeMille on all of the work that's being conducted in town. Sweet, excellent. Thank you.
Virgil loves watching.
The trucks.
Is anyone opposed? Sorry, it's unanimous. Thanks, I'm glad you're gonna be here, so I won't be available. Number 7, discussion and vote to approve the work and cost for Sandrager construction. And we had this is the one where we had. I have it with me. Aaron, do you have, oh, it's not, thank you. It was originally the 49,530, and after Michael Havoc talked to them, it was 39,530. If you'll note under the, we proposed directly above that, because they've written 49, that was changed to 39, but it's not, this is not the last copy.
Okay.
So it's 39,530. And this is the work
This is on.
on
Bedkin.
second. No. On second.
And East Blackwood Place. Which is the installation of 5 inches of road base and 1.5 inches of gravel, also known as crushed asphalt. Again, not paving, you're building up the road base, creating a not potholed surface, and then working to improve the drainage issues where it's puddling heavily on East Blackwood Goes, where it connects to Third. Residents were alerted to this work, which is why we had some public comments. I did reach out to Michael today, as I think there was a little bit of confusion as to if Bluff Waterworks was notified. And they do have water lines on Second, so I do want to reach out to them to make sure that, pipe is buried deep enough and it wouldn't be an issue. Michael is also bringing in Jones and DeMille for construction management of this work as well, but as of today, they had not yet been notified, so he was gonna reach out to them tomorrow. Sondrager is aware of the road construction standards. And Jones and DeMille has signed off on their, ability to do this.
I think that if we could, just in recognizing Amanda's comments and also as a resident on Second East, if we could ask them to pay particular attention to the drainage at the top of the road, that would be good. So we can avoid problems like what we've had on 7th West in the past and also on 6th East.
And so what Michael said in his email is that he has talked with Marks and they've talked to Sondrager, so. Or that they're going to contact Sondrager, so I think everybody's on at least moving in the correct direction. You think?
And Sundrager has responded, like, if you notice his water drain or water issue, even a possibility, that added that, like, I discussed it before, so. Motion to, sorry, I'm finding it. Motion to approve work and cost of $39,530 for Sundrager construction.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It's unanimous. Then discussion and vote to approve the work and cost of roadside drainage and shoulder improvement at the corner of Twin Lots Drive and Highway 191 for Helgerson Property Management. You think Erin knows a little bit more about this than I do?
Yeah, so for the past couple of years, we've had to perform road cleanup where the intersection of Highway 191 and Twin Rocks Drive meet because of the steep slope. It's kind of a joint issue between, or joint item between the property owner, Twin Rocks, and the town who owns the road. And so because Steve Helgerson has performed the cleanup all years, including this year with the marathon, he asked that we please put a more sustainable solution in place to kind of clean this up, the actual issue. So it's my understanding that he's also working with the property owner on the property owner's side of things, but he and Michael went out, talked about the issues. Michael approved and signed off on this scope of work of what Helgerson would be doing to alleviate the drainage issues that come out onto the road. And you can see the line item detail here. Estimated low end 2,200, estimated high end $2,500 to fix the drainage and create more of a better flow towards the culverts.
How much was the total?
22 up to 2,500.
Okay, so can you move up to the top of that again? So I just want to note that the scope of work covers all labor, equipment, and materials. So we're not going to see a separate bill for equipment, correct?
No.
Okay. So, motion to approve work and cost of up to $2,500 for roadside drainage and shoulder improvement at corner of Twin Rocks Drive and Highway 191 for Helgerson property maintenance.
So,
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It's unanimous. Then number 9, discussion and vote to pay bills and move funds from the PTIF to the Class C Roads Fund. And that's Aaron's.
Ready, so we have a couple bills, couple smaller bills and reimbursements. And then the big request I have is in order to cover the cost. So there is some money already in roads checking, but to cover Sondringer's total cost for this approved item tonight, as well as the work they're doing on Calf Canyon and 7th West, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. So I'm requesting a PTIF transfer specifically for the funding that was put in from roads back out to roads checking so we can pay the bills timely. A roads checking to general checking to cover an online payment that was made. So that just is, the accounting is all good. We're just clearing up the cash. And then additionally, a PTIF transfer for a separate amount of $30,000 to general checking to cover all December expenses and early January expenses as we get all the new council up to speed. I want to make sure that the first couple weeks, like we just have, there are funds available that we can pay people with. So those are my requests.
Did you figure out what happened with the IT?
I have not heard back from them yet. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. I will put that on my list. No, thank you.
Is it okay to motion this as just one thing? Vote to pay, or motion to pay the bills and move funds from the PTIF to the Class C Roads Fund as requested
And general check.
in general check.
second,
Any further discussion, questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
I,
Anyone opposed? It's unanimous. And under new business, just a reminder, this is more for me, of the local homeless coordinating council and the point in time. I'll get that information for the 16th. Hopefully make some decisions then. And number 11 is a reminder of the December 13, 2025 training for newly elected officials. Aaron?
So on Saturday, this Saturday, the 13th, from 9 to 1, we will have elected officials training. I definitely encourage, even though you aren't newly elected, if Britt and Jen are able to attend, I would highly recommend it because it's just like that nice little refresher. We have purchased one attendance thing, so we'll stream off of that. And then the only additional like required training, you'll just need to do that quick OPMA certificate on your own because it won't be registered in your individual names. We will provide snackies. And while this one is paid, the rest of the items in the series are free and that registration's open. So I encourage you to go out and register for those as well. We will stream 3 of them from here, so you can join. I will post this to the Utah Public Notice website as a notice that we will have, a quorum of folks potentially here for training.
Nice stream off of your streaming out of town. Or
I'm not
like you
sure.
Register.
I'm not sure for this one.
Yeah.
You're out of town on Wednesday or on Saturday.
Yeah,
Oh,
nephew's graduating college, right?
okay. Let me reach out to the league and double check. My thought is you might need to, but we can also talk offline. A lot of these trainings you've already done, and we could just have you do the annual stuff. So we can talk offline.
I'd love to join you, but
No snackies for you. Okay.
this was a big deal, so.
Okay, we can definitely chat.
Okay, I can be there. I think I might have to have kiddos in tow, so.
Bring 'em with.
Chaos.
They're going to be newly elected at some point. It's a couple years, but it's coming. So I'm fine with it. Excellent. So yeah, 9 o'clock, we'll be here and sign up for the other ones. We will have, if there are other trainings for planning and zoning for you all, I'll let you know in the new year. Great.
All right. Once again, discussion and vote on fee waiver for business owners of Bluff for the Balloon Festival rental of Bluff Communities Center. Jen?
I'm gonna swap hats and be FOB representative at this moment. Since we've had all of this confusion come up fairly recently with the fee being waived for business owners of Bluff, since we are 501c6 instead of 501c3, I would like to request a fee waiver from the town for the rental fees. We are still willing to pay cleaning fees for both community center and Fireman's Kitchen for the Bluff Balloon Festival. We have not budgeted in our festival to cover rental fees because we thought we were waived. So while I could go try to do it back door, I think that's kind of silly, and I would just like to request a waiver for this festival, and then hopefully we can fix this in the future.
I mean, I'm fine with doing it since we discussed it, there's that back door anyways. So, I mean, I'm fine with it. I would like us to clean it up eventually, so we're not ones using it all the time.
I would too.
But we have made, I don't know, like it's business owner Bluff saying no to them, but saying yes to random church groups coming through. It's a little weird to me, so. I will, motion to approve fee waiver for business owners of Bluff for the Balloon Festival rental of the Bluff Community Center.
I'll second.
So any discussion? Well, I thought just because this might be the last time I get to visit it, I would read all 28 categories of 501Cs. You ready? Okay. I'm not allowed to talk.
Are you gonna do it?
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
I'm gonna abstain since I requested.
Thank you. Yeah, it will get cleaned up, and there has to be an easy way to do it, but I think Linda and I are much relieved. This is our last discussion. Unless I come in and make a public comment.
Still come in.
I don't come make a public.
Tell us where you want stuff stored in the fire master kitchen, what shelf?
Is there any other?
Water board meeting tomorrow at 7. And it is budget hearing, so. Somebody's curious.
That note down.
And, again, this is one of those, things to the community, if we have anybody left. Online, I mean, it really does help to have the public attend and know what's going on with water works system, particularly since we are making very steady but slow progress to doing some serious discussions, and so it's really good. There've been a lot of texts, it's 2.5 hours about the PTEC. This is I'm really sad and unfortunate. I think probably waiting for the family to make some formal announcement as to what they're going to do might be just a good reminder to all of us wanting to do something, but right now, I think they're probably getting flooded from what I'm seeing, so.
In regard but not regards, there's been a lot of talk about a solstice burn, not necessarily, I'm honoring Joe, of course, but not necessarily as, you know, I think that's for Joe's family to decide, but there's been some communication. Hiroko and I have kind of been working together. Hiroko is wanting to do something over at Joe's last sculpture. I don't know, we're still in kind of some discussion about that, but if anyone wants to help, I personally would like to have a giant, huge fire. But Hiroko was pushing towards maybe some smaller fires. But just stay tuned, and if anybody wants to coordinate with us or whatever.
Big thanks to EMS and continue to work and
In the sheriff's department and to deal with everybody who's involved in surgeries.
It's 6:02.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye.